Hi everyone, welcome to OWTV. It's me, Ramattra, back here again. This time I have the Hawk, as is his Twitter. Is his Twitter handle. Hawk, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. You know, it's patch day. Season 19 is here. We're in October. It's spooky season. I love the fall. How are you doing?
Same. I'm just got back from class. I love the fall too. Weather's getting colder, so it's not so hot every day, but it's chill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's nice kind of getting some breezy weather. You've had a lot of sweaty weeks considering you've went two maps that went all the way down, map fives. That must have been pretty
Yeah.
stressful. Actually, last week I did remember on the official broadcast, you mentioned you weren't actually happy about having to go that close against Extinction, despite winning 3-2. And today you're here winning another map five banger against Geekay. So I want to start this interview on the topic of kind of your veteran status and how does coming back and playing again feel for you, and what are the expectations that you hold for yourself, because these have been some tough series.
Uh, well, coming back, I feel like I really just needed a break, and I didn't really plan on coming back, but then you know, um, over the year the game has gotten a lot better than it was when I stopped playing, and I pretty much didn't play after I stopped last after Dallas last year for I played maybe DPS only for on and off for a little bit for until Hazard came out. And I started grinding Hazard, and then Perks came out, and then the 66 mode came out. And I really grinded 66 mode, and then you know bans came out for the bans came out in ranked, so people are able to ban stuff in ranked. And I think that's really when I was able to start grinding the game again, taking it a little seriously. Because one of my biggest problems when grinding the game is just playing against heroes that I just don't find fun and I don't find skillful. And then a lot of the time within 5v5 you had to mirror it. But now I just ban that stuff if I really want to win, and it's way more easy for me to just grind the game mindlessly and just work on my mechanics and just play up to my expectations. Um, Coming back competitively, I feel like it's been pretty nice because I feel like I kind of lucked out because we're finally in a meta where I can play heroes like Zarya or Dio, or heroes that you don't really see played. I mean, I've kept up to OWCS on and off. I've mostly kept up with it pretty closely. You never see Zarya, you didn't see Zarya the entire year. You didn't see Zarya the entire last year. You don't see that type of hero play that often. And I feel like we're finally in a state where they're starting to nerf the heroes that just feel like brick walls to play against. So we're now I feel like I'm able to express my skill and just have a lot of fun and enjoy it.
Yeah, less meatballs around, I think, is generally a good thing for everybody. But I'm hearing you you've did a little bit of soul searching, kind of maybe dealt with maybe some minor elements of burnout. But I'm really happy to hear you're enjoying the game again. I think yeah, map picks and bans were massive evolutions for the game and were really good decisions. That's really good to hear. I want to kind of ask, what made stage 3, I guess, that specific time for you to return with SSG?
Pretty much just money asked me, Sugar Free asked me to play,
Oh.
or if I was interested. And I've been playing the game, so I'm you know what, let me rearrange my school schedule, because I initially had a really stacked semester to get a bunch of classes done. But I rearranged it so my schedule is in the morning. I only go to class in the morning, and then I have a few online classes, so I'm able to balance the life pretty easily. And so I scrim in the afternoon. So yeah, stage 3 was really just he asked me to play. I felt I could play up to my expectations, and like I said earlier, I kind of lucked out on the heroes that I'm able to express that on. Because if it was any other meta this year, I feel I would have looked like everyone else. But I hope that I'm able to distinctively show um my presence in the lobby with the heroes I'm able to play at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think as watching the games myself and kind of hearing the discourse, you are definitely a distinguished player, both for your history and you're known for some signature heroes. Obviously, the Zarya has been a big splash for you this year. You've kind of touched on that long, full career of achievements you've had, especially in Overwatch League. I kind of wanted to ask, is there a particular goal you had in mind coming back this time around?
Uh, just want to win an A. Honestly, I really would focus on the winning an A internationally. It's kind of a tangent, but I just don't really think NA has it in them to really do well internationally at all. I think um like EU probably has the best chance at EBC, and they're still not able to do it in a meta favor to them. I just think Korea is just way too far ahead. Like I watched a lot of replays of these players in Korea on these teams, and they're just like so far ahead the way they think about the game and the way they move around the map, and that NA and even EU, even though their teamwork, I think EU is better than NA, it makes too many mistakes, including myself, to be um, championship level at this moment, especially with like how many maps there are. Like, do you have to win on like main tank heroes and stuff like that? So I really just focus on winning NA and doing well. I'm not here saying I'm going to win world finals, but I want to do well. But I want to win NA and then progress and do well and maybe upset some teams on LAN.
No, yeah, it's actually kind of funny. We're currently preparing, I think, a video, kind of talking through, clipping together all the thoughts of players, thinking about the regional differences and who's strong, who's not. A big thing we've heard a lot of the times, especially from NA players, is I think we're closing the gap. I think we're steadily getting there. I think Korea's not so far ahead. And here you are in this interview thinking, I guess, almost the polar opposite. You're no stranger to having, I think, hot takes or kind of being a little bit against the grain. But I think that's genuinely really interesting that, like, for a player of your prestige and experience to still see the other side of things, and you're like, yeah, no, they're really good at this. I don't want to discount that. I think that's one, humble on your part, but also, like, what makes you think, like, specifically that, like, are there certain things the Koreans are doing that set them so far ahead, or do you just think it's like they are it's like a culture thing, or what is the specific thing they have that maybe NA or other regions don't?
Probably just a culture thing. I think a lot of people in NA are distracted with other priorities in their life. Um, I'm not sure about EU. I don't know what the reason could be for that, but I think really just comes down to, like, they've always been good, so they're going to continue to be good, and they get the best practice. Like, we're scrimming the same teams every single day of the week at this point, unless we're playing EU and it's just on ping. So it's like pretty bad practice, but also just because, like, I think maybe some players think they're closing the gap because, in all honesty, the game has gotten a lot easier. Like, it has gotten a lot more forgiving for players, but there's still like very large skill gaps that I see, like, on a day-to-day basis. The teams have gotten very close. Like, let's be honest, like, the last tournament, people have gotten close. There's upset. There's been upsets this year, but I still think there's a noticeable gap when it comes to, like, the championship. Like, when you're in the grand finals, I still think they just have, like, the lock-in mindset that NA and EU have not been able to reach.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, Stockholm is on the horizon. We'll talk a little bit about that after, but I think that's when we'll start to kind of see those matchups kind of pit against each other, and kind of where those gaps exactly lie. I want to ask, though, you've been here for a bit now, kind of playing in the regular season. How's this first month or two been working with your team right now? Like, what has changed? What feels different?
I guess over time, I feel like we gelled pretty quickly. Like, a lot of us have like played with each other, but previously either as like I haven't played with them or they played with each other, and we're pretty like, we had scissors for a little bit. We played with them, but like we were pretty like tight five roster where we kind of have to work around the heroes we play and the strengths and weaknesses of our team. So I feel like that really like speeds up the process of like improving. But as the season progressed, I feel like the meta has kind of changed, but not really. It's kind of stayed the same. So we haven't really like had to deal with a big like path shift or a meta change. Like, we've kind of just played to like what we know that we're like the best in the region at, and we'll just like play our game. Even if it's not like the best comp, because like as you see, like Korea plays some Zarya, they play some Zarya and some Diva, but they play on very specific maps. Like, we try to force on a lot of maps, because we know deep down that if you're playing against a good ball and monkey team, like, that comp should win. But teams in NA make too many mistakes for it to always win. So if that makes sense, like, we shouldn't be able to win on Zarya and all these maps, but we're able to because they make too many mistakes.
Right.
So I know deep down monkey and ball are like those comps are just more they have more like their skill ceiling is
Ceiling's
higher.
higher, yeah.
The ceiling's higher, but like you have to execute at a higher level, which I don't think that any teams have the teamwork to do or like the mechanics to do or whatnot. The coaching to do. I don't know what it could be. It could be a mix of all three of those. But yeah, like, we're gonna play our game and we're gonna, I'm gonna lock in for the matches and just try to like just kill a lobby on Zarya and like whatever hero I want.
No, yeah, I think it's just, like, that's also a very interesting thought. Like, there's definitely some teams that have the philosophy is okay, like if Korea's playing this, it's probably the best thing. Let's try to get as close as we can to that. And I do totally agree that there's like a large margin of error for like a high skill comp like that. I guess philosophy wise, as a player, like, do you think it's better generally than to stick to your strengths and just play like what is in your wheelhouse and grind that out and try to catch people by surprise? Or do you think you should kind of aspire and polish to, quote, the best comp that exists on a given patch?
I think if you're not trying to win the grand finals, you should play to your strengths. If the team that is playing like the meta comp isn't like isn't unbeatable, like I'll give an example. Like let's say we're in 2021, and we know any team knows ball dive is ball dive, Sombra, Diva. The Shanghai comp is hard meta. Everyone knows in NA that's hard meta, but we have like us, Shock, like DC, a bunch of teams just playing Rhine comps because we know that's going to be our best chance to get as far as we can, and hopefully get like as much prize money as possible. I remember we had a joke back then. We were like, "Yo, we'll just we're just trying to knock as many teams out as possible. We're going for second or third, or we're going try to get as deep as possible." But I think relating it back to now, I think us playing our strengths can actually net us a win within NA pretty easily, because I think our results like show so far have like show for themselves that like our strengths can beat the peaks of NA, but maybe not be able to beat the peaks of international play.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like NA is a tight race, I think, for first, second, third, depending on patch. Like we're like all, I think, anticipating upsets to happen here and there. But yeah, Korea is definitely a different animal. I'm curious to talk to other players throughout the weeks and kind of see if maybe they're more optimistic or see something we don't. But that's been very insightful. I guess kind of touching on these previous generations, because you've been around and you mentioned other teams back in 2021. It feels like there's right now a new generation of tank players from when the likes of you, Kaluge, Reiner, Dante, all these guys were playing and we're at the top of the game. So how does the current generation of North American tanks really compare to those back then? Do you think the level has risen or changed much at all?
I've actually thought about this so many times. I've had conversations with people on Discord about this all the time. Like this is like a hot topic in my mind, like almost on the daily, where I think I myself, not daily, like weekly, but like I myself think I'm not as good as I was mechanically or like as a player 4 or 5 years ago, 2021, 2020. But like, what does that say about like other players of the heroes that I play now? Like, I think more people nowadays play more heroes to an average level, to like a congregation of like all the heroes to an average level.
The average skill has gone up.
Yeah, but the peaks of those heroes have definitely decreased. Like, if I asked you right now, who do you think the best Ramattra in the world is? You would not be able to tell me with a straight face who that is, or even giving a top 3. Besides the ones that are on the top 3 teams are the best.
You probably just pick the top 3. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like if I were to give you, say, who are the best divas in 2021, or who are the best sigmas in 2020, you'd be able to give me like a pretty like solid list of these players are like statistically better. They're making like crazy plays, and they're like consistent on the leaderboard with like high stats, high impacts in the game. So I think mechanically, 4 or 5 years ago, tank players were probably better on individual level. Now I think players are more flexible, more willing to like take the backseat for their team, not try to be the star player a lot of the time. And I think the game kind of, at least in an A, kind of like, or even KR, like kind of pushes like towards this like main tank is like king mindset, where you have to on a lot of maps have to play really, really well, or like try really, really hard to win the heroes that are not traditionally main tanks. So yeah, hopefully I answered the question. Like, it's like a very nuanced question. I've thought like about a lot, and I think 4 to 5 years ago, the players I was playing against in NA were mechanically better. I think Kaluge and Reiner and Dante were mechanically better players than a lot of the players I'm playing against now. but I think the game has, for one, gotten easier. And I think two, the heroes that those players played are just not as good anymore. Like
Right.
they're just not as good anymore. Like they're just not able to like. If those players would come back today, they would still look. Um, they would look like everyone else. Like yeah, I feel like the skill gap is not as large.
Gotcha. So a combination of things, just like what was rewarded nowadays maybe isn't the same as before. The average level, even though it has risen, maybe generally competition hasn't been as stiff either. I think, yeah, I think that's good food for thought. I'm sorry that it consumes your thoughts daily or weekly in
No,
this
I
case.
always think of this because I always think like, how would this player actually do at like how would this player do in like the Overwatch 2 betas, or how would this player actually do like at the end of Overwatch 1? Like how would this player actually do? Because I feel like when I see like a ball slam to five players like
Oh,
unapologetically, like and they just roll out away, or they're standing up above me and they just slam our entire team, and we have to clear him out and he's at like 9 HP. I'm like, wow, like that was like really like you're dead five times in like
oh,
most of the
100%.
urges of the game.
Yeah,
Like it is. You just kill that guy. He's feeding. You call him. He's feeding, and he's dead. So
yeah.
yeah, that's how I think of it. Like maybe I'm just delusional, which can
Yeah, I
happen.
mean,
But
techs are different now. Like the dynamic that plays in a 5v5 environment and what they've had to do to
yeah,
kind of make them feel resilient. I totally get that. Part of me also feels like just generally when this average skill level is lower and we go back in time a bit, the players that have learned the fastest and are very skilled at a given time will look shinier, flashier, more impressive by comparison. So yeah, I think I'm going to stew on that too. I might also start thinking about that a little bit more often than I probably ought to.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
But
it's like it's a useless thought, but like it feels like it applies to me because I'm coming back into playing after like 15 months, and like
true.
I've just not really been entirely impressed because nobody wants to mirror me on the heroes I'm playing. Pretty much, there's only like one team that are like Nightmare want to like mirror, but like these other two teams will never even try to mirror me. But like, there's some maps where I have to mirror them. So it's like, are these players more flexible, or is the game just like favored towards them, or does the game just like move toward a direction where
Right.
like their heroes are just like best in slot at this given moment.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting thought. That hadn't occurred to me before. That is super, super interesting. I mean, like, I guess time will tell. I think as patches over time get progressively better or more balanced, we'll never hit a perfect equilibrium. But I think like that's when flexibility really shines the most. The fact that the players in your mind aren't willing to mirror you, I think just says something a bit maybe about just current day mindset. I think back then people were more willing to like ego you on a character if they thought they were really better. Maybe that
Yeah,
is less of a thing now, but super interesting stuff. Um, Alas, I do want to get into the game against Geekay. That was a really, really tough series. Like, I don't think that's a wrong to say. You guys were going against the previous stage champions, so I think the stakes were decently high, and you've expected or want to set the goal to win NA of the stage. How did you guys prepare coming into that match against them? Did you do anything special, or was it another day at the office?
oh god, the beating up the Geekay match.
Yeah.
We had like I said in the interview after extension that we had like a bad week of scrims and cancellations, but we had like a bad week of just losing in every scrim. It felt like we were just getting dominated leading up to Geekay match until the very last day where we locked in on the Friday where we locked in. We had a good day of
What
scrims and
happened
we
on
were able
Friday?
to. I don't know. We just locked in. Lenny dyed his hair back to blonde, or Lenny
You get
got
the
rid of his
haircut?
ginger hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just needed to like gain some confidence
The
back or
energy.
something. It just wasn't there. His confidence wasn't there. But yeah, we kind of just locked in. I don't know. On the Friday we locked in, and then we felt confident with our comp going to Saturday, and that's a lot of it. We just like felt confident.
So more of a mental game, more of like we got to
Yeah,
feel ourselves. We got to feel better about going into this than actual preparedness, I guess.
yeah. We figured out some ways to beat the heroes that we've struggled with. Like most of the times we have struggled with so far. I guess the versus Liquid, we struggled a lot versus Ramattra. We struggled a lot on the defense, like holding on payload, like holding defense on payload. Um, and then versus Extinction, the same thing. We struggled a lot versus Ramattra, but we're slowly finding ways to like kind of beat it or figure out when we need to play it, when we don't need to play it, and slow the game down to like make other heroes work. Like those types of things. And I think it's starting to work. I think it's starting to play really well because um, the last two maps versus Geekay like were uh, pretty solidifying for our confidence on the comps. Like we're actually comfortable on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes straight into kind of what the general tone of my questions about the match was going to be. But you play Zarya into Ram here a ton. And like you mentioned, that was a matchup that you seemed to struggle with against Extinction, particularly. No leaks, and you don't have to say everything if you don't want to, but I will pry because that's my job as an interviewer. What adaptations specifically did you make that made it feel so much better over the course of the series for you?
Uh, I think it's a lot of just like small little bubble timings that could be part of it, but it's mostly just like a playstyle difference. Some maps just favor your ability to like that's Samoa, for example, like the first map of the series. Maybe that inside point with the jump pad isn't like the best one for Zarya, but we were able to like play slow and like just like wear them down. They also had a Wooing, and we were playing Lu Wu versus Lu Wu. That's like not really, we don't play the comp that often, but like we do think Lu Wu is pretty good into like the block slop tanks, as people call them. So uh so yeah, like that's also a pretty good counter to like how we can beat the Ram. But there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of, it's really map dependent. It's really about the map geometry and the momentum, because grab is like really good, and just you know how it is. There's just a lot of moving elements of like the game.
Yeah, on Volcano, you guys started Zarya, and I think like partway through after your like first grab, and they flip the point. You do switch to Ram to Mirror, but then going into the next sub map, you go back to Zarya again, and it looks pretty clean overall. I think that was the first sign of the series where, contrary to I think what people were saying last week, like you might change your look considering how close the Extinction game was. Looks like you guys really just decided to double down and just get better at the comp you were playing. Going into Gibraltar, that was kind of interesting.
Oh god, that was
Yeah,
probably not the best map for me, I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest. But
That's when it looked like people had the confidence up. Samoa was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're up, and then Gibraltar happens, like, okay, we're down, and they ban Diva. I think your team bans Ana, and they take you to Jib, and that's always a tough map. It looks like for your team in these scenarios. You guys have
yeah.
been trying sim attack, kind of here and there, but what's been going on in Gibraltar?
Gibraltar, I mean, I feel like we're always playing some new shit on that map. Like, we actually did practice like the Diva ban multiple times. I played other heroes other than Hazard, but honestly, like, I actually just think that map was like mostly my bad. Like, I mean, maybe we should have played Brig and Hazard if they were gonna be on Hazard, but like, it was mostly like just me trying to do too much on Hazard, just like throwing my life away. I think I haven't really adjusted to the Hazard nerfs, as he's been kind of like toned back on his one shot potential. Like it's a lot harder to get the one shots off, especially when you're playing against Luwu or Luwu Freya. Like they're so, if they're playing correctly, they should never get slashed, or they should never get like walled on those heroes, because they have so much mobility and they have so much um, burst damage. I think I just played really, really bad on that map, and probably should have swapped against Freya Wu. Because at the end of the map, that I think pretty much UV had like 14k damage on me or something. Just disaster, just complete disaster for me. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing that again. We'll see.
I mean, I respect the accountability. You're like, okay, well, that was on me. Do you mind talking to me a little bit through like the ideation of like what's going on with Sim? I think you guys are the only team in that region that like tries to kind of flip map and move around kind of more strategically on the map instead of playing some standard dive stuff. Yeah, like how did that originate? Like, what's the idea?
That's definitely a Christopher idea. You know how many times he's played Sim on that map with like London over the years or some other team. That's honestly not that bad. We usually do really well with it. We honestly usually do really well with it. You know, um, I think we might have swapped off at mid map. I don't really remember how
You
that
guys
map went, to
did,
be honest.
yeah. I think you tried it for a
But yeah,
bit, did go well, then swapped to something different.
yeah, we try to make it work because it works in scrims. We wouldn't be playing if it was just dog water and scrims. But I don't know. We probably just execution issue over it. So
Match
yeah,
day is a different animal. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Noted. Noted. Okay. We're looking to get answers from Chris about kind of what's going on in there for a future interview for sure.
yeah.
All right, but moving on to the classic Kings Row, good Overwatch classic here. Everyone loves Kings. I don't love Kings, but most people love Kings.
Yeah, most people do.
Geekay takes Zarya off of you here, out of the fear of getting owned by you for sure. That makes total sense going to the map. But I want to ask about the Wu Yang ban from you guys. Like, what was the thought process behind kind of that double hit? Because you guys do obviously have CJ that can play it. Maybe did you just think UV was doing too much on that hero, or was it a good map just to remove Wu Yang from the pool because it's Kings Row? What was the thinking behind getting him out?
I think we usually think Wing's pretty good on that map, but he also did pound the map before, completely dominated the map before, just hitting every shot. So maybe that was like I mean, that definitely wasn't a factor. I think leading up to that match, we probably were trying to ban Wing on KR because like they probably, that's our that was our map pick going into the tournament or going into the match. So we figured we need to ban Wu there compared to other maps because maybe I don't know the exact reasoning. I forgot, but yeah.
No, I mean I think it's all right. It's
yeah.
Most of the curiosities. I think you guys. I guess the thinking is you guys have a perfectly good Wu Young player, also, and like usually in bans you try to make them as one-sided as possible. So in this situation, I think people, especially on stream, were wondering like, well, what is the difference maker then? Like, when do we stop prioritizing letting our guy play it to remove it from whoever we're playing against instead? Is that like a consideration for you guys going into the map, or was it kind of like a asymmetric thought? Like, were there other reasons aside that UV is doing well?
I think we just looked to ban Wing on the map going into the tournament, going into the match. I think we just like looked to, we maybe we've struggled versus it in scrims. I don't exactly remember, but I think you probably want to ban Wing at least once for Geekay during the match. So
just for like the right time.
That's their comp. Like they play Lu Wu on almost every map. But maybe that was a mistake. Like after the match, like we kind of got them off Lu Wu at one point, and then we kind of got them. Maybe they're second guessing that the strength of that comp. Due to just how like strong the other ultimates are, due to how strong Kirika's ultimate is in comparison sometimes. But yeah, like Wooing is really annoying on that map, so maybe I think we just banned it because it's really annoying to deal with on that map.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. More food for thought then into moving into playoffs about whether or not to ban him or not, especially with nerfs. That's something we'll talk about in a bit. But going into map 4, Suravasa, you guys are now down 1-2 in this series. Trying not to get closed out here, and you ended up stomping with a firm 3-0 to tie back the series, and it looked very impressive. I think this map, you, CJ, and Lep actually go completely deathless. I think Sugar had like 1 death, and Chronic maybe had like 3. But when we spoke to Chronic last week, yeah, he said like he had an initial impression that there might be some composition changes in our interview at OWTV, considering like how that went last week. But you guys had a resounding victory here, even on Zarya against Ball and Winston. So I kind of want to ask, like, what made this feel so different from last week? Like, you guys are playing the same comps, but you looked like a completely different animal. What went into getting this cleaner style of play from you guys?
I think kind of just like planned our like fights better, or planned like how we wanted to take the fights. I don't remember what we banned that map. Did we ban Hazard? I think we banned Hazard on that map.
On Suravasa, you guys did ban Hazard. They banned Reaper.
Yeah, so we banned Hazard because we lost the Hazard map before, and we could have easily won Kings Row if we had a better defense. I literally just got picked on Ramattra out of all heroes in the game on first point. It was like threw away our defense. Just a classic SSG defense payload blunder at this point. But but yeah, I think we just banned Hazard because we lost to it, and they were doing pretty well on the 2 previous maps. So we wanted to force them either onto Ram or onto.
Yeah, they ended up playing Ball to start on first point, and then Winston maybe the rest of the series.
Yeah, we don't really care if they play. Honestly, like on that map, they just have to execute it better. They just have to like play better, and they didn't play. I mean, they did not play better. They didn't like. When you're playing against a good dive team on that map, you should feel surrounded. You should feel like you can't even walk through the choke, or like you can like snowball, and it's just like really hard to get a grab off and all that stuff. But we ended up just like getting on the point and just killing their tank like 2 or 3 times in a row, and then still going to the next point, grab pulsing them. They just beat in the grab, and then they don't get a touch, and then the next point, we just stay 5 volts to win the game. That map. So yeah, like they just never had any momentum on that map because they didn't play correctly the first like 2 or 3 fights of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like you guys like ran away with it. Going deathless in any game type is impressive, but especially on Flashpoint when it's all about like these fast-paced fights, moving point to point, as a lot can go wrong. But from what you're saying, it sounds to me more like you didn't think you guys necessarily did anything super crazy, but maybe they just didn't bring their A game that day. I mean,
no, we definitely played. No, sorry, but we definitely played well. But like I said earlier, like early in the interview, their comps are not garbage. Like their comps are not bad. They just need to like execute better and like play longer fight for like wear us down. Because there's a reason you don't see teams walking out on Zarya and Suravasa in Korea. You see them playing other stuff there, like ball or monkey.
Gotcha. So homework to be done, maybe a little bit there for teams playing that. Okay, gotcha. And then lastly, going into map 5, New Queen Street, Geekay banned Tracer, you guys banned Ram, and your team really just commands control of the map for a long time here. They put up a bit of a scrap, but you guys ultimately brought it home. Overall, where do you think the series was won and lost on this map?
I think it was probably won on I think it was one of the retakes on our side of the map where we TP Lenny in, and he kills one guy or kills 2 guys or something. And then the series was definitely won when we TP'd him, lethal overclocked him, and then I bubbled at the first TP, and then he spun, he used his reroll, and then I bubbled him again or something, and he got the kill, then CJ TP'd him. So that's probably where like the momentum really shifted in our favor. But we did also like nearly cap the entire map.
Yeah.
I think we probably should have capped the entire map. I remember talking to people after, we were like saying, I remember asking, how the hell did that Sojourner get 2 kills from like their spawn on the last, when we had them at like literally like the last like meter of the map. So I was just so locked in at that point. I was just like frying anyone that came to point on Zarya, just like beaming anyone down. And then eventually I'm like, heal me. And then everyone's like, we're dead besides left. So I was like, what the hell happened? Whatever. So next fight. There's a ball in my face, 9 of HP. I can't kill him. But yeah, that's where my beaming stopped. I couldn't beam anyone more down. So yeah, I feel like the map was definitely won when we got past there, especially when I mean, the map was won at multiple points. Like they threw the first fight. We had a really good checkpoint fight, and we got really far. And then I think we lost the fight. Then we had some miraculous TP plays, and then the graph didn't be. And then
the momentum it's just hard to climb back from there. Yeah, I think like they clawed back a bit. They were like at 50,
they actually did
80.
not go down.
Yeah, and then they won like an overtime fight, or even 2, I forget. But like, yeah, they wanted it for sure. But yeah, I think honestly, good looks from your team in that kind of dogfight. You are playing them again. You are playing Geekay again for your first match in playoffs. So that immediate run back from them to qualify for Stockholm if you win. How confident do you feel going into a rematch with them?
Pretty confident. I think they'll probably learn a lot from their match, and we'll probably learn a lot from our match, the maps that we lost. We have first seed now, so we have first ban and map pick, but I'm not sure the map pick will really matter. Like, we're probably not going Ilios, guys. We're probably going Lijiang or Samoa, let's be honest.
No, this is the mind game, actually. So you say in the interview that you're not, and then you do actually go Ilios. And
if you go on Ilios, that'll be a surprise to me. that'll be a very big surprise to me. So, yeah, I think we'll probably see a more refined match from both of us. Probably another dogfight. I would assume it'd be another dogfight. And we'll see how the patch changes their Luwu play style or changes our, like more Zarya Diva. I don't know what the other hero could be. Maybe another hero to that list of, or like
keep it a surprise.
Comps.
You guys know. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you touched on the patch here, so kind of right into the next question. I guess because you've been around, you've been through a fair amount of patch changes with limited gaps until matches, not a lot of time to prepare. Is there a particularly good way to approach solving the meta and this heavily limited time span, or do you have a usual way to approach preparing for situations like this?
Yeah, I feel like at this point, I've been around long enough to know you just gotta spread like a bunch of propaganda when like the the scrims start. Like you gotta like really try your hardest on on some heroes to make other people want to play it, to make everyone look like it's like really really good.
That
I
is
feel like
so
that's
funny.
usually what happens. Sometimes there might actually be another comp that's like pretty good or winnable, but if you're pounding so hard, they might just think, wow, this is meta. We have to play this and we have to mirror it. So yeah, I don't know if that'll happen this time, but
I've
we'll
never heard that
see.
before. That's really funny. Okay, so there's like a bit of a mind game that happens in scrims. It's like if we just win 6 maps in scrims today, then the next team plays the next people and they try to do the same thing. We can get like a little virus going.
No, that's happened so many times. Like no amount of times like Fuel used to do that, or maybe we used to do that in some comp, or Shock used to do that in some comp. People used to always do stuff like that where they would just like dominate so hard they would get the entire like second team's roster and like coaching staff to like reevaluate like what they need to be doing their next block. So yeah,
Something has to be going wrong, guys. We're playing all the wrong heroes. Surely that's why we're losing.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so this next you got 7 days to really pound scrims. Quote. Gonna see what changes. That's really funny. But okay, yeah. Right before this interview, the patch notes did drop. So I wanted to kind of take a look at those and pick your brain, I guess, finally about where do you think things might go. Like this is your first chance to spread some misinformation campaign directly on the interview. So is there anything there that stands out?
I think the Doom buffs are interesting. Or there's a small nerf, but like a buff to his major perk, which is interesting, but I don't know if it'll probably won't do anything. Like Doomfist is like so uncompetitively viable like after season 9. I don't know, he's just like so uncompetitively viable most of the time. I'm trying to remember. There's Hazard small buff shouldn't really do anything. Ball, I think we talked about this earlier. I don't know if it's a buff or nerf, whatever. Who cares?
Very
Zarya didn't
tiny
get nerfed.
buff, I think.
Yeah,
King was
no Zarya
nerfed.
nerf, which is very nice. Queen got nerfed. Don't know why the hell Queen's getting nerfed. Guess she might have been dominating lower ranks. What other hero? Like,
Her win rate was pretty high, I think. It was like above 54 or something across all ranks, I think.
I guess
Something
that
like
makes sense then.
Yeah.
The Reaper change is probably the most interesting because we do play a lot of Reaper. So we'll see how the perk shifts change. I still think he'll probably be very strong because his right click perk is very good, but if you have to sacrifice that for crazy mobility of like crazy mobility in Wraith form when you get the minor perk and crazy with mobility with the TP perk, well, I think it'll be very interesting. And then, of course, I think the other biggest thing is definitely the looting nerf. We'll see how teams react to that. He's not like super hard nerf, but the 225. Every time they change the hero's health pool, it actually matters so
It's
much.
pretty sizable, yeah.
You can instantly feel it when you're playing the hero. You can instantly feel like you're playing against it. It's the same thing like when they nerfed Hazard's like slash damage and like his wall damage. Like you can instantly feel you're not getting kills you previously were able to get. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Okay, cool. I mean, good news, Zarya, yeah, unhit, like you said. So that bodes well going into this next week. I hope you plenty of luck in spreading kind of the whispers across the scrims, winning all the bucks that you can. I guess to finally end this interview, I want to ask for fans that are watching you and cheering you on. Like you have a ton, having been around for a while. This is maybe a chance to kind of get some face-to-face time with them and let them know kind of how you're feeling. Do you have any words or messages for your fans that have been following you all this time?
No, of course, I appreciate everyone that's following me for, whether it's been like 8 years, 6 years, however long it's been, I'm glad to be playing again, having a more balanced life, finding a way to make it work after Overwatch League ended. And, I'm having a lot of fun right now. And I think we'll put on a good show, and I really want to qualify and hopefully win NA.
All right. And I have one extra question just for you, because I do know you are an opinionated guy on X and whatnot. Usually I ask if you have another word for Geekay, but like you guys are getting the run back and you play them already, so I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in if you have any words for Blizzard. Like a new patch just came out. I know you have a wish list of things you'd like to see. If you could get one new thing that they work on for, if not this season, then the big season 20, what would it be?
Nerf Kirakool by 2 seconds.
That's very specific.
Put 2 tanks in the game with team ups for untraditional tank synergy comps. There you go.
I wonder where you got that idea.
Yeah.
All right, Hawk. It was a pleasure talking to you. I think, I really appreciate the fact that you're just willing to speak your mind, be transparent, and you're not afraid to go against the grain. Good luck to you and Space Station in the coming playoffs. I hope you go to Stockholm, dress warm. It's going to be a little colder.
I've never been. I mean, I think of last year. So I've never been to Sweden.
Oh, no. Okay, cool. All right. Well, there we go. Yeah, something new for you to get excited about and take your mind off of those daily worries. I thank you again for all your time. And to everyone watching, please make sure you go and follow Hawk across all the socials. Maybe add one to Space Station while you're there. And, since you're already on the website, maybe one for me, maybe one for OWTV too. But it's been me. I've been Ramattra. That's been Hawk. And we'll talk to you next time. Thank you. See ya.
Thank you.